bring you the lunch edition of MBC News with me, Hilda Ngomano. Coming up this afternoon, Vice President Dr. Jane Ansah calls on stakeholders to support government's relief efforts to ensure that no one dies of hunger. Business operations in neighboring Tanzania are slowly resuming, a situation that will ease the importation of fuel into the country. And Youth and Sports Minister is inspecting sports facilities in Blantyre, including stadiums for FCB Nyasa Big Bullets and Mighty Wanderers. Thanks for joining us. Vice President Justice Dr. Jane Ansah, SC, retired, has called on different stakeholders to collaborate and support government's relief efforts to ensure that all food-insecure households are benefiting from the initiative. Justice Ansah said this in Mangochi during a thank you mega rally for the Eastern region organized by the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP. She was responding to calls by traditional leaders who made a special appeal for food support. Owen Mavula with a report.
On 16th September 2025, over 5 million registered voters went to the polls to elect leaders in a decisive general election in which Democratic Progressive Party presidential candidate Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika secured a resounding victory after amassing over 3 million votes, representing 56.8% of the total valid votes. Among the regions where President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika and the Democratic Progressive Party commanded a comfortable win is the Eastern, where people turned out in large numbers to cast their vote. In a show of gratitude for the vote of confidence, the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, organized a thank you rally at St. Augustine II in Mangochi, where First Vice President Right Honorable Justice Dr. Jane Ansah, SC, retired, joined party officials, traditional leaders and multitudes of people who gathered at the venue. Apart from commending the people for their overwhelming support, the Vice President assured them that President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika is aware of challenges affecting people in Mangochi and the Eastern region, which includes hunger.
Timadziwa anthu amene ali ovutikitsitsa, anthu amene ali ndi ulumali, anthu achikulire wokalamba, anthu amene mwina anaoneketsedwa zadzidzidzi nthawi yolima anadwala. Ndiye anthu amene mwati kwadziwa. Ndiye a president akupempha ife tonse amene tikumalemba mayina anthuwa kuti tilembe mwachilungamo mosakondera.
In his remarks, Democratic Progressive Party Vice President for the Eastern region, Brighton Saka, thanked the people of Mangochi and the Eastern region for the vote of confidence, saying it has helped the party reinforce its dominance.
Ndipo ndikuyamikira kuti munazipereka, munapita mise wina chodabwisa kuti koma kumene kutikafika, koma mmazipereka kukafika kuthandizira kampeni kuno ku Eastern region. Ndikuthokozeni chifukwa cha mtima umeneyo. Success yathu inunso muli mbali ya success imeneyo. Kuwina tinawina ife kuja, inunso munapanga mphamvu kuti wina motele muja.
At the rally, the Democratic Progressive Party received some senior party officials from UDF and UTM respectively. Owen Mavula, MBC, Mangochi.
Paramount Chief Kyungu of Karonga and Chitipa districts has described President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika as a visionary leader who has shown commitment to restoring this country. The chief was speaking in Karonga during the interaction that Second Vice President Enoch Chihana held with stakeholders, where he said fulfillment of the appointment of Second Vice President is one of the examples. Musa Secheyo reports.
Paramount Chief Kyungu of Karonga and Chitipa districts said fulfillment of appointing Enoch Chihana as Second Vice President has demonstrated statesmanship in Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika in as far as inclusive leadership is concerned. He asked Malawians to maintain peace and give support to the current government to to facilitate development.
I remember in one of his speeches, he said, I want an inclusive government. And this is a testimony. And he said the northern region must feel part and parcel of the government. And this is it.
On development concerns that were raised, Second Vice President Enoch Chihana assured stakeholders that the government will work on the issues starting with the most important on the list.
Of the issues they have raised, they are not new. Karonga is one of the most important districts, not only in the north, but in Malawi. And it's a district that can develop if indeed there are proper plans. One is endowed with lots of mineral resources. There's a lake here in Karonga, but also they are blessed with the famous Kilombero rice.
During the interactions, the business community, through a representative, Winston Manda, said, for instance, the absence of the district commissioner's office is affecting service delivery, among others.
Our district commissioner does not have a proper office. Secondly, the M1 road is in a dilapidated state. Thirdly, we have our secondary roads within Karonga, which are still with earth roads.
Some of the stakeholders that took part during the discussions are chiefs, the business community, council officials, the youth, CSOs, and others. Musa Secheyo, MBC News, Karonga.
The Ministry of Health has partnered with the Africa Center for Disease Control to intensify disease prevention efforts, which remain key to cutting down expenses on the procurement of medicines. 6 countries, namely Malawi, Lesotho, Uganda, Sudan, Libya, and the Gambia, have become pioneers in the initiative, which seeks to integrate social and behavioral change into health service delivery. Africa Center for Disease Control Social and Behavior Change Coordinator Priscilla Kusena points out that promoting healthy habits and health-seeking behaviors could lessen the disease burden and help save both lives and money.
The understanding we have is that social and behavior change activities are low cost, but we also understand that most of the issues we battle with in Africa are also related to behavioral issues when it comes to uptake of health services. So once these activities around social and behavior change are actually part of critical healthcare systems, it will definitely lead to an increased uptake of health services, contributing towards universal health coverage.
Director of Planning and Policy Coordination in the Ministry of Health, Gerard Mantalu, also commented on the development.
For the past 2, if not 3 decades, donor financing has been at about 55%, and if we are going to, it's not very easy to replace that 55% in the next few years. So we have to actually think of a different way of, I would say, developing health, not healthcare delivery, because those are 2 different things, but how can we generate health in a different way? And one of the ways is to make sure that people at home, generate their own health. They engage in practices that improve on their own health, even without spending any money. So now the government or the ministry is moving towards reprioritizing everything we do, all the interventions across the board. And for us to do well there, we are trying to focus on very cost-effective interventions. And SBC is actually in the category of very cost-effective interventions. So as a response to the cuts, we must make sure that we are rethinking the way we develop health of Malawians. And one of those ways is to make sure that we as individuals on our own, we are engaging in practices that promote good health.
The Malawi Red Cross Society says limited funding for anticipatory action alongside persistent community mistrust of early warning messages continues to undermine efforts to shift their country from reacting to disasters to preparing for them. Director of Programs and Development Leonard Maganga made the remarks in Lilongwe at a review meeting for the Scaling Up Anticipatory Action Project. Smart Shalika reports.
The Red Cross Society says limited funding for anticipatory action and negative attitudes within communities towards early warning messages continue to undermine national efforts to prepare for disaster before they occur. Director of Programs and Development at Malawi Red Cross Society, Leonard Maganga, told MBC that the country has made progress in rolling out anticipatory action, but more support is needed to reduce loss and damage when disasters strike. He urged the government and partners to integrate anticipatory action into key national policies and establish a dedicated funding mechanism for preparedness activities.
The main challenge that I can highlight is the lack of funding from partners on anticipatory action. You know, people are used to releasing resources when a disaster has already struck. So this new anticipatory action thing seems to be very new to most people, and it's still facing that challenge of funding. The other thing is also to do with the community attitudes to anticipatory messages.
Planning, monitoring, evaluation and reporting officer for the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies in Zambia, Zimbabwe and Malawi, Tariro Kamangira, reaffirmed IFRC's commitment to increasing financial support so communities are better prepared ahead of disasters.
We as IFRC, we managed to support technically and financially. We are happy that Malawi Red Cross managed to use the resources effectively to achieve the main objective of this project. And our main agenda is to make sure that lives have been saved and there is preparedness before this disaster strikes, because we know here in Malawi there are various disasters which strike, for example, floods.
Meanwhile, Chief Meteorologist and Head of Public Weather Services, Yob Kachiwanda, said the government is implementing measures to minimize and mitigate the impacts of climate change. He said anticipatory action strengthens national efforts and urged the public to take early warning messages seriously to prevent loss of life and damage to property.
We have so far asked people out there. We have done a lot as a government. We have done a lot as a department. Even departments. I'm talking of DWR, Department of Disaster Management Affairs, and Department of Climate Change, and all government sectors. We have done a lot to make sure that we actually minimize the impact of climate change. Remember, climate change is here to stay, but it's the duty of every Malawian to reduce the impacts. And here we are. Anticipatory action is coming into the equation to make sure that we further mitigate the impacts of climate change.
The 163 million anticipatory action project implemented in Palombe, Chikwawa and Blantyre is expected to phase out this year. However, stakeholders are calling for its extension to safeguard the progress made. Smart Charika, MBC News, Lilongwe.
This is MBC News, a reminder of our top stories. Vice President Dr. Jane Ansah calls on stakeholders to support government's relief efforts to ensure that no one dies of hunger. Business operations in neighboring Tanzania are slowly resuming, a situation that will ease the importation of fuel into the country. And Youth and Sports Minister is inspecting sports facilities in Blantyre, including stadiums for FCB Nyasa Big Bullets and Mighty Wanderers.
Everyone dreams of a space where their business can shine. The Grand Business Park in Area 46, Lilongwe, is the heart of the action. Perfect for retail, corporate, or new ventures. Our modern units come in various sizes. 75 or 150 square meters, and 262.5 square meters or 300 square meters. Enjoy 24/7 security, ample parking, high visibility with easy access off Bypass Road, and you'll be sure to join a thriving community of smart business owners. So book your space today by calling 0989 514 482. That's 0989 514 482. Or visit us to schedule a viewing. Grand Business Park, where your business belongs.
Welcome back. Supreme Court Judge Justice Charles Mkandawire says teachers play a critical role in shaping the nation's future. Justice Mkandawire was speaking in Karonga when he presided over the award presentation ceremony for best performers among secondary schools under Northern Education Division. Alex Mwangosi has filed a report read by Jackson Sichali.
Speaking during the 4th Best Performers Annual Award presentation, Supreme Court Judge Justice Charles Mkandawire said the awards assist in enhancing competition among teachers and learners in schools. He then commended government for the free secondary education, saying it will ease the economic inequalities in accessing education among poor families.
Look, government has declared that there will be free secondary education in 2026, January to be in particular. Now, the issue was emphasizing on festivals on access to secondary education. Most Malawians are people who don't have enough money, the majority of our people. So with this policy, if it's implemented, it will actually enhance enrollment of secondary schools, because many parents who cannot afford will now make sure that their children can access the education sector.
The Education Division Manager for the North, Jennings Kaila, said the awards are assisting in improving the education quality.
As the Northern Education Division, we are conducting the Best Performance Award for teachers and students because we have discovered that it is very impactful. The awards that we provide to the best teachers and also students, they act as impetus. They have driven our teachers to work hard, and also they have driven our students to work hard because they do want to emulate others. It has created competition. As such, this has led to the improvement of performance in national examinations.
This year's Best Performers Awards ceremony was jointly sponsored by the NBS Bank and Automotive Products under the theme Education Excellence, a Sustained Legacy.
Business operations in the country's transport sector and among traders importing goods from neighboring Tanzania are slowly resuming. This follows the easing of post-election issues. Frank Banda, chairperson of the Transporters Association of Malawi, told NBC that the Tanzanian government has reopened its borders with regulated curfew from 8 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
They have given us time frame that our trucks should be operating from 8 o'clock in the morning and 4 o'clock in the evening. Because of this directive, they have given us security escorts. This has helped our trucks that were stuck on the border that they should cross in, and also the trucks that were stuck at the ports, the trucks which were responsible for bringing fertilizer, containers from overseas, and also the fuel. Our trucks which we suspended loading for security concerns. I'm happy to say that those trucks have started loading at the various ports of Tanga and the Dar es Salaam, and the others expected to start coming in the country this week. And even the Minister of Energy reported to Malawians that we're expecting over 93 trucks, but I should say there are over 93 trucks.
In his remarks, Tennyson Mulimbula, Secretary General of the Small Scale Business Operators Association of Malawi, welcomed the development, describing the curfew arrangement as a relief for their members who have suffered losses over the past 3 weeks.
When this border post was closed, it had a huge negative impact on small scale business operators here in Malawi, especially those who rely on going to Tanzania to make orders of various items which they sell back here in Malawi. So because of the violence that have had erupted in Tanzania, because of the elections which were held there, the small scale business operators could not go into that country and make the orders of their goods. So the reopening of this border is something which is very pleasing, and the business operators are now able to do their businesses as usual.
Employees in the country have been encouraged to upgrade themselves and acquire skills that will help them address challenges affecting their performance at workplace. This was said in Salima by Joanne Nell, a facilitator from Goshen International of South Africa, at the end of a 3-day training titled Modern Administrators: Challenges in the 21st Century. Ludovico Nyirenda reports.
The training targeted 15 female assistant administrators, personnel administrators, executive administrators and others from different companies, banks and universities, equipping them with modern administrative skills to help deal with challenges that are influenced by modern technologies such as artificial intelligence, AI, social media and others, which affect institutional performance at working place. The facilitator of the training, titled Modern Administrators' Challenges in the 21st Century, Joanne Nell from Goshen International in South Africa, said many challenges faced by assistant administrators and others in their working places stem from limited knowledge and exposure, hence the training. She expressed optimism that the participants will apply the skills they have gained to improve their performance, ultimately benefiting their respective institutions.
Keep following your dreams. Keep pushing. There is always a way. Don't just accept the no's. Find ways to save money on a different level, to make your own way here, so that you can motivate for your own development.
One of the participants, Hazel Manilupembe from Blantyre Water Board, said the sessions were eye-opening and will help improve efficiency in her work.
Really beautiful training. We learned so much. We learned about how we can grow in our daily basis. She told us about AI. We need to be updated so that we are not replaced by AI.
Another participant, Jane Zamera from the University of Malawi, said she will share the knowledge gained with her colleagues for the benefit of both the institution and the country.
It will gain a lot because when you go back to our offices, it will only not be me who has gained it. I've also let my friends know what I've gained, to them how we should be doing things. As we started the university, we gained a lot.
At the end of the training, participants received certificates of recognition. Meanwhile, Goshen International has announced that it will conduct a similar training in the country in August next year. Ludovico Nyirenda, MBC News, Sarima.
Youth and Sports Minister Patricia Whiskes is today inspecting a number of sports facilities in Blantyre. Among them, the minister will inspect the Blantyre Sports Arena and stadiums meant for FCB Nyasa Big Bullets and Mighty Wanderers in Zingwangwa and Sochi. Construction of the two facilities began in 2019 but has stalled with little progress. Well, that item concludes this edition of MBC News. A reminder of our top stories. Vice President Dr. Jane Ansah calls on stakeholders to support government's relief efforts to ensure that no one dies of hunger. Business operations in neighboring Tanzania are slowly resuming, a situation that will ease the importation of fuel into the country. And Youth and Sports Minister is inspecting sports facilities in Blantyre, including stadiums for FCB Nyasa Big Bullets and Mighty Wanderers. For more on these and other stories, visit our digital platforms by scanning the QR code at the top right corner of your TV screen. You are with me, Hilda Ngumano. Thanks for watching and good afternoon.
Ni chisangalalo cha banja lanu lonse ndi Azam TV. Masewera, mafilimu komanso maseries, nkhani za maiko onse, zana, documentaries komanso mmene moyo ukuyendera, nyimbo komanso machanelo amaiko osiyanasiyana kuphatikizapo Malawi. Azam TV, chisangalalo kwa onse.